Hello and welcome to the Intel Brief. Today is Friday, 5 December. I'm your host Daniel, and today we're going to talk about Putin and Modi have met up to strengthen ties. The US has conducted a strike on another alleged drug boat in Pacific. Interesting. And Zelensky's plane followed by military drones before his visit to Dublin. So firstly, Russian President Vladimir Putin's second day in New Delhi will feature meetings with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the 23rd Russian-India Summit. The annual summit is expected to focus on defense, energy, and trade, according to Indian officials, even as India faces US pressure over its purchase of Russian oil. The meeting between the two leaders comes as New Delhi seeks to balance ties with Moscow and Washington against the backdrop of the Ukraine war and US tariffs going at around 50% on most of India's goods. India has been the second biggest importer of Russian crude oil after China, so energy security is expected to be a big topic of discussion. While India has maintained close ties with Russia, critics say Putin's visit could impact ties with the European Union and United States, complicating key export negotiations. Putin last visited in 2021, but Modi and Putin met last September during the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit. So what? I mean, this kind of goes to show the soft power of the US and the damage that has been done by Trump's tariffs plans. While India and Russia have always been close, I think it was possible that pre this whole tariffs debacle, the US could have pulled India away from Russia, specifically around buying Russian crude oil, which I think, as I talked about yesterday, is one of the only ways Putin keeps this war in Ukraine going. Wars cost money and they're expensive. So yeah, it's not a great situation for the West to be in. Ideally, we could pull India away from this relationship, as it would significantly damage Putin and the Russian economy. But it appears like we are losing significant leverage in this relationship, particularly around tariffs to the US, because, it just damages India's ability to sell things into the United States and makes them look for new markets. And if they're looking for new markets, Russia's going to be one. See ya. And next, the United States military said it killed 4 men in a strike on a suspected drug trafficking boat in international waters in the eastern Pacific Ocean on Thursday, part of a campaign that has killed at least 87 people. US Southern Command said in a statement that intelligence confirmed that the vessel was carrying illicit narcotics and transiting along a known narco-trafficking route in the eastern Pacific Ocean. And it's random. In a video posted by the US military, a small boat moving across the water was struck by a large explosion. The camera then zooms in on the vessel engulfed in flames and smoke. So what? It's unsurprising that these strikes have now spread to other parts of the ocean. If the US is trying to strike any narco trafficking over water into the US, that was always going to happen. But these strikes in general, are pretty rough. I think most countries in the world see them as extremely dangerous, borderline illegal, and possibly amounting to just straight up murder by the military. But it seems to be the way the US wants to go with it. Pete Hegseth has not backed down, despite, I think, as I covered yesterday, there now being a court case around just claiming that one of them wasn't a drug boat and it was murder. So I don't know. I don't think the US cares, and I don't think anyone's going to do anything about it, but I don't know. It's a bad look. I think it's damaging the US's reputation in South America. So I guess just more soft power damage. But hey. And lastly, Zelensky's plane was followed by 4 military-style drones before it landed in Dublin airport on Monday, according to a report. Sources told reporters that drones took off from a location in the northeast of the Irish capital and flew towards the flight path of the Ukrainian president in a breach of a no-fly zone. The Garda are investigating the incident but have not yet been able to confirm where the drones came from or who may have been controlling them. They're trying to establish whether the drones took off from land or an undetected ship slipping past radars. Island security services said that drones were large military-type devices and that the incident could be deemed a hybrid attack. So what? There seems to be a realistic possibility that this was an attempt to down Zelensky's plane as it landed in Dublin. It's a pretty simple operation. Just get the drones in front of the plane and smash them into the engines. It's going to do the job and probably would put the plane on the ground if you hit it hard enough, especially if they're large military-style drones as reported. This just shows how effective using drones in hybrid warfare is. Like, extremely hard to identify where they took off from, extremely hard to identify who's using them, extremely cost effective, and if they had hit the plane, possibly an extremely effective way to bring the airplane down. And if that took Zelensky out, bloody hell, like that would have been one hell of an operation. So I don't know. You can see why they do it. But yeah, I guess that's the world we now live in. Kind of goes to show that, if key individuals' planes are now landing in airports, you might have to pre-position troops or pre-position some form of security forces with anti-drone weaponry to ensure that the planes can land safely without interference, because that would have almost been a very costly error. But yeah, anyway, that's been your Intel Brief. I've been your host, Daniel, and I'll see you again on Monday. See you!